It's a little better than the other day, isn't it, that we gathered?
Oh, absolutely. I'll take any day.
Well, it was a rainy day when we were downtown,
Oh, cooler, but
yeah.
We got home and there was hardly any rain.
Oh, on that side, yes, yeah. How did you, so what is somebody saying something about the downtown? I have no idea.
I pulled up some pictures online of downtown Pontiac, Saginaw's historic district from 1920.
Yeah, you can do that. It's really it was a very important town then. There were only two towns that really counted in Oakland County, and that was Royal Oak and Pontiac. And the other ones were just, growing, and as witnessed by the tall buildings downtown before 1928.
I saw all that,
Yeah.
saw the beginning of it.
Are we ready?
Well, I think it's not, is it,
Oh, okay.
I think we have a little time yet, don't we?
We have a quorum, so I mean, if you want to start, that's fine.
Yeah, but let's wait for Fernando. He didn't say no, right?
No, he's about 10 minutes. He's gonna be about 10 minutes late though. He's stuck in traffic.
what about Jim?
Jim is not, no, Jim is repairing a Home Depot in Bay City. Well, okay, it's 6 o'clock. Are we saying we want to rock and roll?
Yep.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is for Wednesday, June 11th, for the Pontiac Historic Commission. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Adams,
Present.
Commissioner David,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark.
Yes.
And Commissioner Bales is running a little late, and Commissioner Allen is not going to be here. He's absent.
Correct.
Okay. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. We have the agenda before us. Is there any changes to that agenda, Paul?
Nope, we're sticking with the agenda.
Okay, do we need to approve the agenda?
Yes, you do.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Commissioner Clark, I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there support? Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Very good. Then we have the minutes for our May meeting. Not sure if you had an opportunity to look at it after it was mailed. Any additions or corrections? Please.
One correction, or we need more information. The last case says that the motion was seconded by Commissioner, and then there isn't a name filled in.
Okay.
Not a problem. I
With
can
that
change
in mind,
She made the motion.
Oh, she made the motion. You
And
probably then were
so,
were the second, I think. Okay, all right.
okay. Okay,
Sounds-
that sounds good. With that amendment, or whatever you want to say, all in favor of indicate with the minutes, with that change, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? Very good. Presentations. Yes.
All right, so the first one is 17 South Saginaw Street. It's HDC 25-023. Easy one, apply signage to existing box sign. So the star, the blue star, notates the location of the building. And roughly 17 South Saginaw was constructed in 1920. The property, again, is located within the downtown historic district, and the property is in excellent condition. The site consists of a Chicago-style commercial building, multi-story. The building is primarily clad in glazed brick with limestone-type elements. And the storefront is not original to the building. And there is an existing interior lit box sign on the Saginaw facade between the second and third stories, and I'll go there in a minute. I have a few pictures for you. So to the left, you will see the existing sign. It's the Green Law Group, a Bayshore, I believe. And so you can see that's an existing sign with the sign face on it for the law firm. And of course, it's on the Saginaw side. Now it's located in between two medallions, so it's not, the existing sign box isn't covering up any type of detail. But again, the existing sign box is staying, and all that's going to be occurring is a refacing of that. So the picture you see to the right is a photo sim of the sign. So roughly, the new sign face will have the specialty type emergency care to the right, and then the law firm to the left. So in a nutshell, again, removing existing sign face on the building, installing new sign face. National Park Service, it's 2, 5, 9, and 10 that apply. And this is the Pontiac Historic District Commission review criteria. 3, 9, 10, and 11 apply. And again, they're just refacing an existing interior lit box sign attached to the Saginaw frontage of the building. The sign will roughly be 28.3 square feet, which is within the requirements of the zoning ordinance, and the sign will not be enlarged, that being the box sign itself. And we approve the insert of one acrylic face sign within the existing building-mounted interior lit box sign on the Saginaw facade of the building. Again, the sign will not exceed 78.3 square feet. And again, the existing building-mounted sign will not be enlarged. And again, we recommend approval, and these are the sample motions.
Any questions for Paul? Please.
Oh, I was just gonna.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Paul, I do have a question, and it's more a procedural question. If the only element that's changing is the actual acrylic, and the sign box that is currently installed is going to be retained, and just the acrylic is changing to reflect the two businesses, I'm wondering, why is that something that comes before the Historic District Commission?
Sure. The way it's written right now, it says sign, okay? So any sign will be in front of you. However, that's an excellent question, because I've rewritten the staff guidelines, which we should probably be providing to you next month. And signage such as this is an item that staff can approve, so we're going to be removing that from something that the commission will look at, unless the commission wants to look at it. And
But
Thank you.
we're not to talk about the aesthetics of the sign or anything other than replacing one acrylic panel for another.
exactly, yep, that's what the
Okay.
guidelines say
Thank
right
you.
now. Yep.
Yes, please. Sure. Did you make a motion?
As soon as they're up there, I will. I move to approve the issuance of the certificate of appropriateness for this request with the two conditions recommended by staff based on the Secretary of Interior Standards 2, 5, 9, and 10.
Okay. Is there support for that?
Campbell supports.
Okay. By the way, is there an applicant that is here about that? Do you want to add anything? I mean, we're going to accept it as is. Yeah, you're okay with that?
No, we're fine. This is what we applied for, and thank you.
Okay, yeah. There's no crying or anything about the result? Okay, that's good. I'm glad you're a big boy. Okay, so all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions, and the reason why. Thank you very much. Well,
There's no reason for you to sit here and wait.
yeah, that's right. You could bring us lunch or dinner or something. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, okay. Next is what here? Okay.
Application 25-021. Applicant Mary Klein, again, address is 141 Chippewa Road. Installation of new wood siding on the dwelling. So as you can see, this is an area map. Let's say the blue rectangular donation right there is showing the location of the property in the Seminole Hills Historic District. The property was built in 1929. Again, it's in the Seminole Hills Historic District. The site consists of a two-story dwelling with a detached garage to the rear of the parcel. The applicant seeks a certificate of appropriateness to remove original wood lap siding and install new wood lap siding on the dwelling. Now, within our application, there is pictures that we provided that shows the deterioration of the existing lap siding. So I just wanted to point that out while I continue my my presentation. So, but these are to the left is a photo of the front of the house. There's some wood damage on that one, but to the left rather. To the right is a better indication of damage to the wood siding. That's on the garage side rear of the building. And this is the wood siding that the applicant wishes to use, and I'm going to run down and grab it while you ask questions of the applicant. National Park Service, 1, 5, and 6 apply, as well as 9 and 10. Then the Pontiac Guidelines, 2, 3, and 5, as well as 6, 7, 10, and 11. In a nutshell, staff supports the removal of the deteriorated wood lap siding to be replaced with new wood lap siding mimicking the look of the original siding in texture, design, and sizing. As you all are aware, this is the siding guidelines from the HDC book. And in bold, what is permissible is replacement of original historic materials with materials that match. Use of the same materials, match existing configuration. So that's what the applicant's requesting. And again, staff recommends approval of the existing wood lap siding coming down and new wood lap siding being replaced, which will mimic the original feature in size, color, texture, width, and design. And also the applicant's going to be requesting new metal gutters on the dwelling. So he has existing metal gutters and he just wants to replace new metal gutters, but that does have to go in front of you. But that's something that I'm changing in the staff approval for hopefully July. So like for like, correct, yep. And we also might have to have a conversation, if there's no gutters on there, do you still want me to staff approve it if it's just regular common gutters? And these are the motions.
Very good. Any questions for Paul?
Nope.
Applicants, you're the applicants. Is there anything you want to add beyond what Paul has shared about your dwelling?
No, just the siding that's on there is in a real rough shape,
Sure,
and we're basically the same
sure.
stuff that's on there.
Yeah. We like decisions like this. Like for like is a really nice way. Yes, do you have something in mind? Does it appear to be a motion?
It appears to be a motion.
Is there, and what is that motion, please?
Oh, sorry.
Approve
Okay.
the issuance
All
of
right.
the certificate of appropriateness for this request based on the Secretary of Interior Standards 2, 5, 6, and 9 to remove existing wood lap siding on the entire dwelling to be replaced with new wood lap siding that will mimic the original in size, color, texture, depth, reveal, and design, and establish new gutters on the dwelling.
Very well stated. An optometrist would be proud of you. You read it well. Is there support for the motion as presented?
Campbell supports.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed indicate by saying nay. Okay. Any abstentions? So So you have a green light. Yes. Yeah.
Hi, yeah, hi. It's my mom's house, and she's just trying to get it to, look nice in the neighborhood. All the houses are beautiful around it,
Yes.
It's gonna look like the brand-new 1929 list.
That's great.
Your house is beautiful too, and you're doing such a wonderful job of taking care of it. Thank you. Thank you so much, because it really matters to everyone in the community.
Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome.
Nice seeing you again, ma'am.
Okay, and now we're ready for our third review.
All right. So,
We're on number 3 already.
that's what, 6:15? Okay, so this is HDC 25-022. Applicant Doors of Pontiac, address 141 Cherokee Road. Review door replacement without HDC approval. The applicant is requesting a certificate of appropriateness for the following. Door replacement, that's being the side door, and I'll show you a picture of the actual dwelling in a minute. Property was roughly built in 1926. The site consists of a one-story Spanish Revival stucco-clad dwelling with a detached garage to the rear. The applicant installed the door, side door without HDC approval or a building permit. So as you can see, the location is the rectangular blue box. Again, in Seminole Hills Historic District. The proposal seeks approval for work completed at the site, removal of a 1980s slab-type door with a new slab-type door. So, as you can see to the left is a picture of the dwelling. This is a great-looking Spanish Revival house. There's not that many in Seminole Hills, and I think there's another one. I think, isn't there? But yeah, it's just a lovely looking structure. With the terracotta tiles still existing on the front and the flat roof and somewhat segmented a little bit, but bowing at the top. This is great. And to the right, you're going to see a picture with the old door that was removed from the dwelling. So this is roughly the 1980s, 1990s type of door on the right side picture. And this is a picture of the new door installed. So it's a direct replica of the door removed. So these are National Park Service door replacement guidelines, and I'll just go over them briefly. In accordance with the Secretary of the Interior standards and the guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings, replacing a missing historic door with one that matches the historic door is preferable in physical, pictorial, or photographic evidence existing to document its appearance. Absent that, the door may be replaced with a new unit that is compatible with the style and character of the historic building. So this is National Park Service, 1, 5, and 9, and 6 also. These are the Pontiac Historic District Guidelines, 3, 5, 7, and 10. Now, this is just a quick one that I got off of the internet for Spanish Revival doors. They're a bit elaborate, but the one in the middle possibly may have been a good example of one of the exterior doors on the dwelling at the time of construction. But again, these are a little bit more elaborate. The replacement door does not replicate the original doors found in a Spanish Revival dwelling. The new door is a basic slab door with shallow recessed panels and is a replica of the door removed. The original Spanish Revival door was removed sometime in the past prior to the ownership of the current owner, and unfortunately staff does not support the new door. And staff supports a replacement door with elements common to the Spanish Revival type door or structure style, or a contemporary door having Spanish Revival elements. Staff, again, does not support the addition of the basic slab type door. And these are the sample motions.
Okay. Any questions for Paul? Yes.
And I guess I just want to make sure, so the homeowner did not put the old door in, bought the house with the old door and replaced it with a new door that had structural integrity that matched the look of the existing door.
You are correct, yes. Yep, to me, it was a roughly 80s, 90s door. And the door that was, the new door that was inserted, mimics that door. But unfortunately, the way staff has to review things based on the National Park Service guidelines, we have to adhere to this standard, okay?
Yeah, no, and I get that, I just wanted to make sure that,
Sure.
Yep.
that door existed at the time of purchase, correct? You didn't put that
Yeah.
old door in, it was already there.
We're going to give the applicants a chance now to, please introduce yourself. Yes, and your address, we assume.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Nancy Shea. I've been a resident at that beautiful home 31 years October. I purchased that home with that teal door originally there, realizing probably not the original door. I have a current picture of what that front door looks like that looked in the picture as white. It is teal. It was painted. Those are the colors of my doors. Again, so to answer your question, I did not put the original door in. Had I known that I required a permit from you all, I would have much rather been here to go through that procedure than to do it this way. It was not done purposely, I was not aware, and I apologize. But I am here now. I put in a door that is a better door than the steel door that I replaced, that I have photos of. The door was not functionable. I couldn't close it. I got lucky. I came home from a dental procedure on a Thursday, walked in my door, tried to close it, it wouldn't close. It was rusted on the bottom, and it was warped on the side by the hinges. Luckily, I got it closed. I wasn't able to open it until I got the new replacement door. I tried to find something that was exactly like the door from the house I moved into, because I thought that was the requirement. There was no alteration to the measurements of the door. It is exactly the same. Mr. Paul would like me to put in a hard wood door, more of Spanish style. I personally think that would look ridiculous on my house right now. I would never be able to afford a door like that to put on my front door so that the doors match. I thought I was following the guidelines, and apparently I wasn't, and again, I apologize. Trying to replace a door that looked exactly like the door that was there. Again, it wasn't functionable and it wasn't safe. I had to replace the door. A very long time ago, I went to the historic place. There's a building somewhere. I've been here almost 31 years and I still don't know my way around Pontiac, to inquire about that house, because I was curious to see what maybe the original looked like. I was informed from a neighbor when I moved in that that area where the door is that I replaced was actually all screens. So I am just thinking that maybe the original door there was a screen door. I was not going to put a screen door there. It is, somebody drywalled it and filled in that porch, so it's a enclosed porch now. It wasn't me. Any questions for me? I have pictures on my phone. This is Doors of Pontiac. And
Doors of Pontiac.
if you have any questions for me about me living there, I'll be happy to answer the questions.
The Doors of Pontiac, please come forward.
Yeah,
No, not come forward, but come to the,
I don't know if you guys can see the picture. That door was a disaster and it wouldn't open.
yeah.
And we are very conscious of the historic area, and we literally made sure it was exactly the same door that was there. And if you look at that door from this picture, it was an eyesore. So she made it 10 times better. That picture didn't do it justice. The paint was gone on it, it was rusted, it wouldn't open, and we thought that it was already under the guidance that was approved once, because that was a door we figured to be about 18 to 20 years old. And we went exactly the same thing that was there. We apologize because we know if it's a wood historic door, it has to go back to that.
Do you know the policies of the Department of Interior across the country?
No, I don't.
You don't? I'm so surprised that a company like yours is not aware of the Department of Interior guidelines.
We don't do a lot of work in that historic area. I know you
No,
would think
but
we would
across
do more. Oh.
you have a wide, a wide area that you provide doors for, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, and there are other historic areas besides Pontiac. I'm just sort of surprised that a company as credible as you was not aware of the Department of Interior guidelines.
I would be love to go ahead and see those things. I mean, it's not something that you would really, I don't know where you would get that information from. So it's not something that I've come across. But yeah.
Many times we have problems with real estate people and others that have people come to look at property and don't tell the people about the Department of Interior rules and our own rules. And so sometimes there's some issues about that. So
Yeah, you would think we would do a lot more historical areas, and we really don't, probably because there's a lot of guidelines to that. So not as much as you think. And this is really the only area we've ever run across that. But, the door had been changed before, and we thought it was approved. That's our fault. The doors you mentioned that I saw there, those are $12,000 to $15,000 doors, just so you know. And she was in the $1,000 range. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm just saying, yeah.
For $1,600.
Well, any questions? Any
Yes.
further,
I have a question.
please?
I have a question for the gentleman from Pontiac Door. So you didn't pull a permit to replace the door?
I know that sounds unusual, but generally speaking, 99% of the places that we go, as long as we do exactly the same door, the permit's not needed.
Paul, is that true for Pontiac?
Well, I'm not with the building department, but I can inquire and ask the building manager that question and get back with you.
That would have caught this before it became a situation.
Well,
It's unfortunate.
yeah, what would have caught it was the fact that the applicant should have, at least tried to find out if it was an historic district. And if he would have came into the building department and actually pulled a permit, then the building department would have said, hey, this is an historic district, and you have to go in front of a review process prior to getting a permit and installing that door.
So again, Paul, would you put up the different choices that we have to review? Okay. I'd like to have some discussion among the commissioners about this before we look at a vote on this. You may sit down. Yes, Rachel.
Commissioner Clark, I have a question about the motion, the options for the motion, and what next steps would be. If we were to determine that we would like to see a different door there, would that require the applicant to go through a whole new application process in addition to this one, thereby causing an additional application fee? Or is this something that could be tabled for them to bring back another proposal?
Yes, if you wish to table it and then the applicant then brings back another door example, that can occur. It's whatever you wish.
Thank you.
Other comments? Any other questions?
And I guess it's not necessarily a question. Just looking at the Secretary of Interior standards that were provided, number 2, the historic character of a property shall be retained and preserved. The removal of historic materials or alteration of features and spaces that characterize a property shall be avoided. She didn't remove anything that was a historic material or alter anything. She replaced the door with the door that looked exactly like it. Had she, like, I would lose my mind. Absolutely not. Like, if that was there, that's a very different story to me. This looks exactly like it was and is safer, so. And we didn't remove a historic feature. At this point, the door was technically non-contributing.
Please go to the podium if you have a further comment.
Just one more thing I forgot to say or mention. I would never do that. I would never, well, I would never do that. Those doors, are certainly lovely. Those are wood doors. Is that correct, Mr. Paul?
I don't know. Those are pictures that I got off the internet. They don't specify the material.
Okay.
But they more or less look like some doors that one would maybe find on a Spanish Revival dwelling.
That door that I replaced faces south. The door that I replaced was steel. Again, the bottom was rusted because I have steps going down. The snow builds up. So the bottom was warped. The bottom was rusted.
Yeah.
It will be almost 31 years I've lived there. I got a lot of wear out of that door, but it became, again, non-functioning. You put a wood door there, it's not going to survive. The snow, the rain, the hail, the sleet, the shoveling of my steps. I mean, I got something that's going to outlive me.
I understand.
Pardon me?
I said, I hope not.
No, it really will. That was depressing. When I had that conversation with Doors of Pontiac as to how long would the new one last, well, it's going to outlive you. I wanted just to make that clarification regarding a wood door. If it were to be replaced with a wood door with 6 panels, like the middle one that was shown there, that looks, my front door is a wood door. With the 6 shallow panels, I replaced again the exact same style, the doors match. So, again, I just wanted to make the comment about it being a wood door.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we'd all buy what you're saying about a wood door and not being resilient. Yeah, there are a lot of wood doors that are resilient.
No,
You don't think so?
I've been doing it 30 years.
Yeah, okay.
They usually last about 5 years, so it's okay.
Well,
I could make a
I have
comment.
lots of wood doors. I have a 110-year-old house that has a wood door.
Isn't it amazing how old stuff is a lot better than the new stuff?
Okay, okay. It's 120 years old. So, well, I think we're ready to, we have some choices here. Do you have all the information that you need to make a decision tonight? Is there further information that you need? If there is, we'd have to table it. If you're ready to accept it, or you want to go with the planning department's recommendation. It's before you all, and I would look for a motion. Are you okay on that? Am I saying something that's wrong, or?
Oh, no, I'm thinking about what Commissioner Burke had to say, reading the language, and I appreciate that you took the time to carefully go through the language, because I agree with what you're saying. Nothing was removed from the property that was a historic element and contributing, and the work that was done didn't reduce the historic significance of the building by replacing something that was original. What it did do is allow her to still come and go from her house and put something in that actually improves the overall look, because it isn't rusted out. So while it's not the door that would have been there originally, I understand that the original door isn't there, so it's guesswork as to what it would have been, and that this was, I think, a reasonable, good faith attempt to put something there. I mean, she took care in matching it to the existing front door too.
And so you're looking at the standard number 2?
Yeah.
And so what about the other standards?
To that point, Commissioner Bales, and I think it's worth discussing because, you know, we've seen this come up before. I think we're going to continue to see it come up. And thank you to the homeowner, you know, for coming before us and going through the process. I guess relevant to the Pontiac Historic Commission guidelines, number 10, in terms of contemporary designs, that no historic feature was not removed from the home. The existing door probably didn't add to the historic quality of the home. We don't know that, but it does state contemporary designs, materials, methods for construction, alterations, and repairs shall not be discouraged where they are compatible with the size, color, material, and character of the affected structure and adjacent structures. And so I asked the question, like, was the existing door compatible with the existing structure? I would say no, right? That door maybe had been there for 30 years, but it was not accurate to the historic nature of the home. And so there is an argument to be made, like, we would hope, you know, and again, cost is obviously a very significant thing, that an effort would be made to put back the historic nature. But in this case, I think to the other guidelines that we're pointing, like, I don't know that I could request that of a homeowner. You know, like, you did the right thing. And again, I appreciate that. But there are guidelines that point to, like, yeah, that existing door was not contributing to the historic nature of the home. Could we put back something that would contribute to that nature? I don't think that us as a commission, I don't know. You know, it's a tough one for me, but just more thought.
Yeah, very, very well stated. Any of the other guidelines that need to be brought up? Paul?
These are the National Park Service ones. And then this is obviously the one from the National Park Service that I put in from their guideline. So again, these are the National Park Service, and these are the Pontiac.
And I guess I want to bring up, kind of contrary, number 5, whether the applicant has avoided where possible the removal or alteration of any historic building materials or distinctive architectural features, or other changes which would destroy the original character of the affected site. Again, so that's in both places. She did not remove an architectural feature. Now, if she were here coming before us, the door, would this be nice? Would that be the recommendation? I
or other research.
Right,
I
yeah.
mean, he just
This
did
is
he just did a look at the internet.
Yep.
We don't know what's
don't know,
available.
that's
And we don't know in other outlets beyond doors of
Yeah, we don't have
Pontiac
a,
what's available.
we don't have a picture of the house from the 1930s or 40s or 50s when
Yeah.
the door was probably still on the dwelling. The only thing we have is from roughly the 80s.
I didn't hear the beginning. Do you have a picture of it when it was?
No, we don't.
A
We
screened
don't.
porch?
Oh.
Because it was a screened porch.
I would tend to agree with you. Those types of attributes are definitely Spanish Revival, being a screen porch or a sleeping porch.
Yeah, it would have been a screen door.
You know what,
The original door.
well, originally, actually, no, that wouldn't have been screened. Probably was screened probably in the 40s, maybe mid-30s, but when these Spanish Revival dwellings were actually constructed, the sleeping porch or the screened-in porch would be to the rear of the structure, not to the side, because, again, the reason why a screened-in porch is put together is so that individuals can sleep outside when it's warm, because they probably didn't have air conditioning.
When I moved in, my neighbor across the street told me, because not the people I bought my home from, they just lived there. Mr. O'Berry lived there for a very long time. I did not know him. He put his initials in the cement around where they enclosed the screened porch. So, I was told by a neighbor that that was a screened porch.
You know, our challenge, we have 5 historic districts in our city, and not every one of the 62 towns in Oakland County have these. And each time that we accept something that deviates a slight bit from the Department of Interior and our own ones, it's one step away from what we'd like to see, what the rules say. And we try to be aware that we're not Birmingham, that we're Pontiac, but it's a dicey thing. And I'm more concerned about doors of Pontiac than yourself. I was hoping that they had known more about Department of Interior goals, rules, and our own. So that's where I'm at. But, so I would look for a motion.
I'll do it. I move to approve the issuance of the certificate of appropriateness for this request based on Secretary of Interior standards. Not even mention the standards. To approve the installation of a replacement door. The door that's already been replaced. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Okay. Is there support for the motion as presented?
Commissioner Clark, though it pains me to, I support it.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. A new member, do you understand what the discussion so far? Yeah. Okay. So then we would look for a vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Nay? Any abstentions? So now what is their next step?
Sure, I'll get a certificate out to you early next week.
Okay. You don't have to look so sullen. You've been accepted. But I'd love the professional from Doors of, to talk to Paul and to learn more. Your corporation needs to know much more about historic areas in Pontiac, Michigan. We take pride in what we're doing, you know, and it was evident that you don't really have a lot of knowledge about it. So that's the reason, one of the reasons I voted no. Okay? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you for taking such beautiful care of that house. It was gorgeous.
Okay. Paul, what is next?
Sure. Next, we move to the window guidelines. Now, obviously, you've all seen the window guidelines for several months now, several different renditions of it. So what we have in front of us is what SHPO's approved. So we're just looking to get your input and a vote if you wish. But I mean, it's really what SHPO's approved, so after maybe 8 revisions, so, yeah.
The guidelines for storm windows are coming later?
Actually, yeah, they're in front of SHPO right now. They sent revisions, so I'm going to do those revisions and send them all over to you when that occurs, yeah.
Do we get to see the revision history, or are we just getting the final document?
Nope, you're going to see the revision history. Yeah, this one.
Because we didn't with this.
No, with the storm ones, they mentioned to me that they can review them, and I was like, oh, great. If you have some time, I'm going to draft them. And then I knew they weren't going to approve what I sent to them. So that's why it was done so quick, just because they said, well, we have some extra time, and they did. So what I'll do is I'm going to send you the document that I sent to them next month, and I'm going to show you the revisions that they sent to me. Yep. But they're very, they're not detailed. They're just down, they're very specific about what type of, what should I say? Yeah, they're just stickler. SHPO is very stickler with the phrasing of the sentences and the type of storms that can be established on an historic dwelling. So that's what they're sort of dwelling down and trying to get into my mind, that I have to change a few things.
Again, you submitted our policies to them for review, is that correct?
Yep, what I did is, based on our conversations, I changed the guidelines based on those. And then, yeah, so this is what they approved based upon, all of our input.
And if people are listening from cable TV, could you indicate this is a state agency?
Yep.
Could you share with people that may be listening on cable that they need to know about this?
Yep, this is a State Historic Preservation Office, and this agency of the state of Michigan, what they do is they do various things, but one of the attributes that they do is they have to approve all historic district guidelines within municipalities that have historic districts. So this is the first take on our window guideline. We're going to have storm door guidelines as well as door guidelines too. Then hopefully we can get some guidelines for downtown and so forth and so on. And it's just a function of state government, making sure that we're compliant with the Secretary of the Interior standards. Okay.
And again, people are listening. In a place like Seminole Hills, there are contributing and non-contributing houses, meaning that some are not historic. They were built in the 50s or the 60s. They don't follow, just kind of articulate for us what that means.
Yeah, there is contributing and non-contributing houses in all historic districts.
Okay.
But based on the time they were built, that's when, well, I'm going to take that back. All these guidelines, contributing and non-contributing, have to abide by, okay? So what we're trying to do is, with these guidelines as well as the future guidelines, we're trying to make them sort of all compliant straight across, looking at all the architectural styles and things like that. And for windows, it's kind of easy just because, well, I mean, if the house was built in the 30s, 40s, 1890s, I mean, obviously they're all going to have double hung windows with external grills, and or true divided light. And then if we look at a house, let's say, built in the 1970s in Seminole Hills, what this guideline state is that we're not really looking at materials, we're looking at the look of the window. So, I mean, those types of windows that have just 2 panes, and some of the 70s style windows, they actually have the applique on the interior. that's something that, is an attribute of that dwelling, so you can make a determination on approving or denying it. And what this says here is that you can approve it, because realistically, they're matching what they're taking out, and we're not looking at materials here. Because the way this, the way the guideline situated is, we have recommended. Now, recommended, that would be the whole idea that the window would be repaired. Every attribute of that window would be repaired. So a new window could not go in. So then we have acceptable. With acceptable, well, there we have that variation. The guidelines state that, yes, it would be nice if you can replace those defective features of your window. However, if you can't, then the commission can review replacing that window, but that window is going to have to mimic the look of the window coming out. It also gives different variations of how the commission can review houses that have both vinyl and original windows, or have all vinyl windows in the structure. It also looks at glass block windows and talks about those. The last one, not recommended. Well, not recommended is roughly a window that does not look like the window that is in the house currently. So that's really, there are 3 tiers to that. Replace the window, don't place the window for the first one, the top tier. You have to repair all the attributes or features of that window. The second tier is that you can replace that window, but that window has to look like everything like the window that's coming out. And then we look at vinyl, we look at other windows within the second tier, and the third tier is just not acceptable whatsoever, which means that the new window doesn't match any of the attributes of the existing window in the dwelling.
You're looking for a vote from the committee? Or just an understanding?
It would be nice. I mean, Chippo did approve it, so it would be nice.
Are you ready to move to approve what the state has indicated that we can move ahead on? Anyone? Yeah. Okay. So.
I might as well.
You okay?
I move to approve the new window guidelines as approved by SHPO.
Okay. Is there support for that motion?
Commissioner Bales supports.
Okay. Any further questions of Paul or among ourselves? Please.
And it's not about these necessarily. I see this is the window guideline for residential structures. Should we also have window guidelines for commercial structures?
Yes, that's going to have to be soon. And that's going to be a portion of the downtown guidelines. Now, we do have some CO districts in the Franklin Boulevard is actually a CO district, which is considered residential business district. So I think that would relate back to our residential structures, but anything commercial is historic, that being downtown. So yeah, we're gonna be working on a whole guideline for what we talked about at the training on Monday, which is everything.
Is what? Thank you. Okay. Well, so was there support for that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, we're ready to vote? Okay. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay? Any abstentions? Okay. What is next?
Well, I have a note here, if any of you want to discuss the training that occurred on Monday, add any questions, any critique?
Well, it was
Open-ended?
weather related. It was difficult for us to do, but what observations, just to answer, to react to Paul's question, what did you see down there? What do we need to do? You know, go ahead. So who would like to say something? Please.
Yeah, one thing that would have been helpful just with the packet, because the packet was just pictures, if maybe there was just, you know, like when we talked about the different features, kind of, I don't know what it's called. We had the brick where it was just decorative brickwork to me, but there was like the recess section and then it came out. Is there a specific name for that type of brickwork? We had just to have some examples of what things are called in each of those, like, you know, here's the parapet in the, you know, just stuff like that.
Yep.
would have been
Yeah,
nice For the different.
Yep, within our
buildings.
guidelines, we are going to be very specific about the different attributes of a building, but we're going to have to be careful because we looked at, I mean, that downtown's composed of roughly, what, I think the max is 26 stories for the bank building that you approved. And then we have two-story sort of Art Deco / 1950s style limestone clad structures. So we might have to have a few examples that talk to those features of those buildings. Because obviously, a building built in, the oldest building in downtown is 1860, okay? And then the youngest building that we're going to see is, well, it's the courthouse building. 1970s, maybe. So we're going to have, you know, different pictures showing different attributes of certain styles, I guess.
Now, there's some areas that are not part of the historic district, which I did not, I didn't learn or I didn't pay attention to. What areas are they?
Sure, it's roughly around the hospital, okay? So that area around the hospital, the parking deck, the hospital itself, and then on the other side of downtown, it's around like A1 Grill, or A1, what's it called? M1 Grill, thank you. And then more of the buildings that are adjacent to Woodward Avenue on that side of downtown. Yeah, but the area that we walked was the historic district. The historic district takes up, I want to say maybe 60% of downtown. But then, of course, there's a lot of vacant lots in downtown, too.
Just looking at the buildings you went around, any observations for the other night, please?
Something that I knew, but our training session on Monday, seeing all of those buildings and looking at the renovations that have happened over time, downtown districts or commercial structures are often subjected to more frequent renovations and updating, trying to make it look fresh and new when a fresh new business comes in, which makes it a more challenging review for us to look and see, trying to find what was original to the building and what was updated, and at what point in time was that update still historically significant, and when should it be disregarded? And it, from what we learned Monday in our discussions, it's really kind of more contextual, more gray. It depends on the structure and depends on when and what's around it. And there's so many things that I don't think guidelines are ever going to be able to really iron out.
Yeah, I think the guidelines are really going to focus in on storefront and what type of alteration is being requested for above the storefront. Roughly, windows, cornice area, any ornamentation on the floors above the ground floor or the storefront, as well as we might even look at transparency too. But we don't want to be too sticky because I really think, I took Rick out on a little tour of Detroit, and we drove through several historic districts in Detroit, but the one that me and Rick really took a really good glance at was the Brush Park area, because in Brush Park you have these 1860s mansions, okay, but then we have these really contemporary townhomes with a lot of transparency, but roughly they're brick, and brick, a little stucco on them, a minor use of metal, but still, as long as the massing's the same, the same materials being used and things like that for new structures, very contemporary wise, it does fit well into the Brush Park district. And then the other area would be Corktown. There's a number of new structures being built in the historic district, that being residential and commercial. And the residential ones, very interesting because they utilized the type of materials that one would find in that residential district. A little brick, a lot of wood, okay? But a lot of these newer houses, a lot of transparency, humongous windows, but they still stayed with the scale, the height of the structure, as well as the massing, and things of that nature. And the commercial structures in that district, yeah, it's a lot of ground floor retail, so there's a lot of transparency, but then they use more brick on the second floor, third floor, and fourth
My
floor.
observation downtown, we've been more focused on the residential areas than the downtown, historically, this commission. And so that's why it changes Commissioner Park so much. We just haven't had that eye that we do, you know, and I look at downtown, I mean, when I first came here in '95, I mean, it was so strong compared to today. Pike Street Restaurant was the #1 restaurant in Metro Detroit, where Lush is now. I mean, it was just amazing, all the art areas, and then, I don't know what happened. The challenges of a post-industrial city, Well,
I have a
I guess,
question.
I
yes,
also have-
please.
How does Main Street Pontiac play a role in the investors that come down? Or do they normally contact them, Main Street Pontiac first for the historic or investing, and then?
In most cases, they're contacting the building department first, and the building department's routing them around to us, that being the planning department or the Historic District Commission staff.
Okay.
Main Street Pontiac, I have not had any individuals that have come into our
don't. Okay.
department stating that they talked to that agency.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, it's a challenge. I failed to introduce, and why don't you, our new members. So please just share for the TV audience a little bit about yourself. And we're very happy that we have someone now from GM Modern. So please press the button here.
The microphone right there.
Yeah,
Hit the
red.
button.
And who are you? And
I'm
what makes you
Jason
tick?
Adams. I live over in Omar Street. I'm in the GM Modernizing housing area. Anybody out there what lives in my neighborhood, what's into home repairs and wants to keep their house historical, I'm the guy to talk to, man.
Okay, well, then, congratulations. So we have things covered except for Fairgrove right now. And so that's a pretty good thing. Anything else, Paul, that's before us?
Commissioner Bales,
Oh,
yeah,
please.
just some other comments on observations from our tour downtown.
please.
I think, I just noticed like a lack of consistency in sort of the signage, specifically to downtown signage. I think we talked about like getting more specific, I don't know, recommendations around that, as well as like awnings, I think was brought up. And the use of awnings, where it's appropriate, where it's not. You know, we looked at the example of the building that had awnings put over windows covering up historic detail. And so just, yeah, drilling down on those points more, I think, as we move forward to like, I mean, I would love to just see some consistency in terms of the signage downtown that just begins to tie things together as like, you know, I think we've all been to historic downtowns that some regulate the color of awning you have to put up. I'm not saying I'm for that, but I think it ties things together nicely, and people kind of notice that like, oh, I'm in a different type of district all of a sudden because something is telling me that. I think that just would really add to downtown.
Yeah, nicely. Please.
One more thing that I'd like to note from our event on Monday. I learned that there is grant funding available, at least right now, to help commercial businesses restore the properties. And that's something that, I mean, if anybody's listening who has a commercial building and you're looking to restore it, there's funding available, but I would act fast, because who knows how long it will be there.
I attend a monthly meeting of downtown people, and it's never mentioned anything about what we do. They have an agenda, and they just go ahead, but maybe we should be on that somehow. So I think, you know, that would be very important. When I went by the hospital on the corner, It just says, it seems so out of place for everything else. I mean, I'm embarrassed. I was embarrassed to look at the lack of historic feelings at all. I don't even know what it looked like. And I don't know, any observations about that, or was that just Rick talking?
I think it looks gaudy, but
Yeah,
It's out of place, yeah.
it was out of place,
I
yeah.
usually drive by, I didn't realize how poorly rendered
It was,
really is.
yeah, we did some investigation, it was just slapped on there. It was really,
Don't line up, it's-
it was just there.
I-
You-
Well, and I guess, and to your point about the funding, I guess, one thing that we've come across several times now is owners who have owned commercial buildings for ridiculous periods of time, most likely holding on, waiting to get a huge payday, and letting these buildings continue to deteriorate. And so as we continue to talk about what we want to do downtown and what we want to do with these types of buildings, how do we hold those owners more accountable for that deterioration? And what avenues do we have? Because if somebody's had a building for 30 years and hasn't done anything, I don't think that person should be eligible for a grant now, all of a sudden, so they could,
Good
they can
point.
sell it and reap the benefit. So is that something that we can work into any of our guidelines or talk about? I know we've got the demolition by neglect, but what else?
Well, the demolition by neglect is about it for the commission. But really code enforcement, to be honest with you. That's where code enforcement has to go in there and well, write tickets based on their interpretation of the ordinance. And that's about it, unfortunately. I mean, we can't really, cities really don't really do eminent domain anymore. That's a very sticky point. So it's
I think we have
really.
a relationship with code enforcement, historic areas, that in other areas, they don't, I mean, we have some upper hand with them. I mean, they couldn't tear down a house in a historic area without our approval.
You are correct.
You know,
That's
so-
why you have your notice to proceed for
Yeah.
demolitions in historic districts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say that the code enforcement officers, they're very diligent about the historic districts. So far, I sent them out to 3 houses last week. So they're very diligent about those things, and we're going to see one house next month that code enforcement did do a review on. So they're stepping up their enforcement, and
So-
yeah.
I'll just say the last thing, I shared a few months ago that at the end of this year, when a new mayor comes, I'd like to ride off into the sunset. But a couple of things that I still want to see, we're still not, what is the word? Proactive, we're reactive, still too much. We're having people come to us instead of, what can we do next in engaging the community to educate the community? I'd like to have a couple more sessions this year. I'm not sure what they are, and if any commissioners have an idea, to share with Paul that, that's what we do. Then I just need to know how different buildings are doing, like Castle Del Rey. I drive by there a lot and nothing seems to be happening, but you live in that area.
It's interior.
It's interior? Is it going, is things going?
There.
Okay, that's good.
And they're actually going to come in front of you in the next few months because they want to do more alteration of the exterior.
Yeah. The former United Way building, anything being done on that, on the Lawrence and Wayne?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, that's sitting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That was a consumer energy building, and it was my building at United Way. I was there for many years. It's a great building. What other things, anything like that? Maybe that's the end. I'm sorry? Yeah.
Public comments.
Oh, public comment. Do you have any public comments you wish to make? Okay, please, if you would come to the podium, introduce yourself, and
While you're getting to the microphone, I would like to add one more quick thing about downtown. Being on foot, walking around, we observed a lot of new development happening. Businesses that are getting ready to open, businesses where you see progress being made on the interiors. It hasn't hit the outside yet, but when you're on foot and you're looking, there's activity happening. And I wanted to end with something about that was more positive.
Yeah, that's a very
Because
good
it,
thing. Thank
you know,
you.
you talked about the 90s and how busy it was. We may have that coming again.
A mini renaissance.
So thank you.
Indicate who you are. We've seen you sometimes.
I'm Darlene Clark. Thank you for, I'm sorry I'm late also.
Your address, generally? You're
506 Nebraska Avenue.
Okay.
So I am a Pontiac resident for 70 years, actually, born and raised here. So let's get some clarity on that part. I am not your age. I'm older of all you guys. Yeah, 70.
You're a kid.
Yeah,
You're
I
a
am.
kid.
No, I'm not good at that one. So first, let me, the old Salvation Army on Lawrence Street, if I'm not mistaken, but you can always backtrack, is turning into a storage. It was voted by planning. You guys, I don't know, you know, I didn't come to your meeting when it was put before you, but it is supposed to be a storage. It's not. I don't know, I'm only
It's
telling you.
not in
what-
the historic district. The next house actually is the historic.
It is?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not in the historic district, yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know, I didn't say it was a storage, it's supposed to be a storage. It was
Oh, I
approved
got
for
you.
a storage.
Yep.
Pardon me? Oh, I don't, that I can't answer. I didn't know it was voted, to become a storage facility. And that was way back last year, early part of last year. Also, let me tell you guys this. Historical carries a heavy, heavy, heavy responsibility, very heavy. And you want to know how can you get the word out there about historical. In your district name, you have District 2. What you can say, this is the historical District 2. That will really, really up your game, in my opinion, because of the word historical being as heavy as it is. It would really get the respect that you guys are looking for. Because right now, you're looking for respect for your district. And over the years, it's gone down from what it used to be. It used to be so elegant and so gorgeous. Now you have more landlords, renters, and everybody coming there taking the big homes and turning them into what they want to turn them to and doing what they want. But then also, this is just my advice. When a person comes to you and they're working for a company, do some background with your city to see how much. Pontiac Doors has been in Pontiac over 40 years. I want to say about 48, maybe 45 years. They've been in Pontiac, and they have attended to every house, including District 2. Homes. They've been here. So for him to say he's not familiar, that's the first lie he told you. His company's not familiar. Now, if he himself has not been working for Pontiac Doors, he's not familiar, then I suggest he get familiar, because that's an excuse to get away. One thing that I did notice that you guys did not ask this man, will they have to replace the hinges? Now, I have wood doors. I have wood doors. My parents had wood doors when our house was built, and today I have all wood doors, and they have lasted since 1961. Now, when you go, because the way those homes are built, the door entrance is not up to standard. So somewhere, I'm willing to bet you dollars to donuts, she's going to have to replace that whole frame. That whole frame has to come out in order to fit that wood door. So you guys, the next time someone come up, please find out more information, because they just snowballed you guys. Out of no disrespect to anybody in this room, okay? But it was a snowball. You're right, the historical is sad. From what I've seen, what I know, it's very sad that the district is going the way it's going, and because it's historic. It represents Pontiac. You guys are the one who can say yay or make Pontiac or actually break it. So when you see all these changes in other people, and I don't even live in your sub, but I have family in your sub. And like Paul did suggest, you got those that's not historical guidelines. My family happen to not be of that historical guideline, because their home was built after, in the 70s. And with all that being said, it still doesn't excuse when you allow Paul said it about as clear as I can say it. When you allow the violation to go, code is your friend. Code is the best friend that you have to keep that historical. And then you personally, in every seat that you sit in, you guys got the bullet. You got the weapon to either make Pontiac or break Pontiac. And when they come to this podium singing the sad songs, emotional feelings cannot play a part. Because if you can afford to buy the house, then you can afford to fix the house. Do you understand what I'm saying? And if they come to you with these sad songs, $1,700. Okay, she get a door for $1,700. Then you ask, well, what kind of door is a $1,700 door, even though it's wood? Because I'm going to tell you this. I have 2 doors that I'm replacing, cost me $35,000 for 2 wooden doors because it's a specialty door. It's not up to standard. It's lower than the normal standard. So I have to go through changes to get it, but it's well worth it for my family in the long run. So please, I applaud you because you carry this weight, and it's a weight upon it you probably don't like, because a lot of things around Pontiac since the 70s, whew, is going down. In the 70s, everybody was rushing and partying in Pontiac. Nobody cared because we got freedom to do what we want to do. But we're talking about today. And all those rules from the 70s and 80s, and they're gone. And let these people, investors, know that you cannot come in here and do what you want to do. If they can't do it in Birmingham, if they can't do it in Novi, if they can't do it in Holly, if they can't do it in any other city, then guess what? You can't bring it here either.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That was an important statement, and I appreciate it very much. Paul, anything else that you wish to say, or?
Nope, I have nothing else on the agenda. If you want to go to adjournment, that's fine.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, oh, you've been a very consistent person. Is there support? Oh, you're in the game.
I'm in the game.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, all in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Amen.